Are you paying yourself for your role in your interior design firm? Are you paying yourself enough? Are you paying yourself too much? Maybe not quite the right way as an LLC or an S-Corp? And do you have like little creepy heebie-jeebies about paying yourself? Maybe some worries that mindset issues can help address, right? Today's guest, Danielle Hayden of Kickstart Accounting Incorporated, is back on the show to tell us why we need to pay ourselves, how much we need to pay ourselves, and if we're doing it wrong. Stay tuned. Hey kids, and welcome to Designed by Wingnut Social. I am your host, interior decorator Darla Jethro Powell. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I took off several weeks from the podcasting just to kind of relax. And we had some terrific replays for New Year, New You from our fantastic producer, Nicole Lyons, put those together. But this is new for 2025. I wish you all a healthy and happy New Year. And hopefully those drones are not the coming of the alien invasion. Aren't we off to a great start? But seriously, folks, today we're talking about money, right? So one of our New Year's resolutions here at Wingnut Social and at Darla Powell Incorporated is to be a little bit better with our money. And you will see during this conversation that I am admittedly a free spender, much to the chagrin of my wife and my bank account at times, right? So getting that together and making sure I have enough profit percentage as an S-Corp to pay myself and to do all the things correctly. What does that even look like? Well, I think that you're going to get some elucidating moments, some light bulb moments from Danielle Hayden here. All right, but before I get into my conversation and tell you all about Danielle, Wingnut Social sponsors this podcast, designed by Wingnut Social. And we are a digital marketing agency for interior designers, architects, to the trade, home space, home shelter pros, right? We do organic paid social media marketing, search engine optimization, organic paid PPC, all of that it entails. So if you're looking for someone to get your business in shape from a marketing perspective, to get your website healthier, to attract more ideal clients on social media, if you're done doing it yourself or trying to do it yourself, might be time to delegate outside of your scope of genius to Wingnut Social. That's all we do is work with interior designers and home pros. And we do it the best, if I do say so myself, or at least my team does. This is what I do. You're looking at it on Designed by Wingnut Social at YouTube. Shameless plug. Head on over to wingnutsocial.com and see how we can work together. That is wingnutsocial.com. All right, Danielle Hayden is no stranger to the show. She's been on before, episode 248. Go check that out at wingnutsocial.com. Danielle Hayden is the co-founder and CEO of Kickstart Accounting Incorporated, a bookkeeping and accounting firm that is on a mission to coach six-figure and beyond female entrepreneurs so they can better understand their numbers through bookkeeping, financial analysis, and support. So they, meaning you, can grow profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable businesses. Can't forget that. So, Wingnuts, help me in welcoming Danielle Hayden back to the show. Hey there, Danielle Hayden. Welcome back to the show. How the hell are you?
Thank you so much for having me here. Excited to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and it's been a minute. And if you guys are unfamiliar with Danielle Hayden, her previous guest appearance was episode 248 of Designed by Wingnut Social, and we talked about all about raising your rates, and that's a very invaluable episode. You can check that out at wingnutsocial.com. Danielle, today we are talking about another hot button. New year, new me, 2025. And by me, I mean everybody, right?
Yeah.
And why it is so important to pay yourself as a business owner. And this might seem on the surface as a, well, duh question, but it really isn't.
Much depth.
So much. A lot of business owners aren't paying themselves or are underpaying themselves, maybe for reasons. I do want to dig in. I have some questions for you. But before we dive in, just remind the audience who you are, who you help, why you're such an expert at this, and we'll get that convo going.
Yeah. Danielle Hayden. I founded Kickstart Accounting Inc. Almost 10 years ago, which is absolutely insane.
Congrats.
We help business owners understand their numbers, be able to make better business decisions and show up to tax season prepared and confident. It's really interesting, having been in the entrepreneurship industry for the last 10 years. And most tax accountants out there are worried about tax. And as business owners, because we are terrified of the IRS, we focus on tax. But there's so much amazing parts of running a business. And when you understand your numbers fundamentally month over month, you can step into this power as a CEO, as a business owner. And it's not just about tax. It's about running a really powerful business. So I believe that because my background is as a chief financial officer. So as a CFO, helping bigger companies use their numbers to make business decisions. And I want to empower every small business owner to be able to do the same.
Yeah, and that's so important. And you are right. We are terrified of the IRS. Every time I see anything from the IRS, and it could just be, we've noticed a change of address, or here's your year-end, whatever. I get angina, just wonder, okay, what is this? And it's never anything. But yeah, it's a very scary institution.
And it creates all kinds of money mindset where we're now avoiding money. We're not looking at our numbers. We're afraid to pay ourselves. And we start telling ourselves all kinds of narrative and stories. What's really interesting is that when I worked as a CFO, that is not always the case with larger companies and private equity firms and investors. And so I want to bring that transparency around data to entrepreneurship so that we can then say, all right, I can use my intuition, I can use my gut, I can use my feelings, but I can also tap into this data over here to actually determine whether or not my gut is right, because sometimes we're wrong. We're feeling the wrong thing.
When you work with small business owners, first of all, do you work with interior designers as well? Do you have interior design clients?
We work with a lot of interior designers.
Yeah, that's what I figured, because I know you've been on the show before and other interior design podcasts. So what are before we get into the paying yourself, what are some of the biggest common denominators that you're seeing interior design business owners come to you that they're unaware of, or that they should really be knowing, that you know what I mean? That's like some of the basics for the audience to say, oh man, maybe I need to get a handle on this particular aspect of my finances.
So I love our interior design clients. You guys are the best. Mm-hmm. And you're creatives at heart, and I can't do what you do. First of all, you know what I mean? I can't do it. If you saw behind those two white doors. But if I started at the most basic level, for most of our interior design clients, they don't understand the numbers fundamentally because they came into business because they were really good at your thing, right? Yeah. Your craft. That's what you're good at. Then you start this business, you become an accidental entrepreneur. All of a sudden clients are paying you and you realize, oh my God, I have a business. I have to do all the business things, which includes filing my taxes, paying people, paying myself, making business decisions, signing up for subscriptions. Oh shoot, I signed up for too many. I'm going to bankrupt my company. And so for our creative clients, there's really this, there's no judgment. There's just no desire to know your numbers and confusion as to around what that even means and what to do with the information and what does it mean to do bookkeeping. And I say that with so much love because it's not your job. You should never have to do the bookkeeping or that part of the business. And that's why we do what we do. So fundamentally, our interior design clients don't want to sit down and read the financial statements. Stay organized, respond to those statement emails. It's the most basic things.
Yeah, that is me. Having come from an interior design background, right, to this marketing agency, I still carry that creative brain. I don't want to read financial reports. I go with my gut a lot. I mean, now I have a CFO, right? So that's incredibly helpful. I do delegate a lot of that stuff, but if it wasn't for having that, I would still be like, what ifs?
Well, and you know what? I love that you said that because I really don't believe that as interior designers that you should ever be doing your bookkeeping or your budget.
Same.
When we work with our clients, we do all that nitty gritty BS that you don't want to have to do. But here's the best part. And this is what a lot of bookkeepers and accounting firms miss the mark on. We send our clients what we call a snapshot. And it's this high level overview. It's very visual because you're a visual person.
Yeah.
So charts and graphs, and it takes all the numbers out and gives you something visual to look at. And so I want to encourage anyone who's listening, that act of just looking at a visual representation of your numbers is going to give you so much confidence to say, hold on, wait, I don't have to be a bookkeeping expert. I don't have to be a tax expert. I don't have to be a CFO, but I know enough that I'm making good business decisions. I know I'm going to stay in business. I know I can pay people. I know I can pay myself. We can go on vacation next year. Those little things, and feel really confident in that.
But are the colors pretty?
What's funny that you say the colors? We use Kickstart's brand colors, and I wish there was a way that I could change the colors to our clients' brand colors. That's my feedback for our software.
There is a way you could do that if you use ClickUp or one of those. We don't use that. We use G Suite. But there is. There absolutely is. We don't, but that's not our area of expertise.
So you're asking an accounting firm to change their colors. Yeah. I mean,
I don't want to open up a can. Okay. All right. So that's amazing, right? And one of the first things, of course, that we recommend, I mean, not as accounting experts, but is delegating outside of the scope of your genius, right? So is bookkeeping and all of that you're not an expert at, because you want to free up that bandwidth for building your business. As the principal of your interior design firm is offloading marketing, right? Shameless self-serving plug there, because that's what we do, because you're not a marketing expert. You're an interior design expert and you're growing your firm. Okay. So let's talk about the main focus of this. Thank you for the background, is why it's essential to pay yourself as a business owner, right? Besides right? I need to make a living off my business, but from a mindset standpoint and from a success profitability standpoint for your business, right? And then I'll dig into some of the nitty gritty. I'd like to get your thoughts on, just to open that up.
So it is amazing that we say the words like, oh, duh, you have to pay yourself. But I can't tell you how many, we've worked with thousands of business owners over the years. And I can't tell you how many clients will say, well, I don't know, technically how. You keep on telling me I can't pay for my kid's daycare out of my business account, but I don't know how to pay my kid's daycare because I'm not actually moving the money from my business account to my personal account. So it's very tactically, people get stuck into that weed of, how do I do it? How much do I do? So we can get into that. But that really right there is the first sticking point for people, because it's actually very technical. And if you don't know how to do that and how to classify that and how the IRS considers those funds, that could be really terrifying as a business owner. We talked about how scary the IRS is. So now I'm telling you to move money from your business account to your personal account. You're like, am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Right? So first and foremost is just technically being scared of how to actually move the money. Okay. Then we go into a whole mindset thing. We find that business owners land in 4 personality buckets. The first is our free spenders. Our free spenders love to spend money, and they're not looking at the financial statements before they spend. They see it, they want it.
Guilty.
Quick starts.
I am guilty of that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm a free spender in business, but I'm not in my personal life. It's really funny. My husband was just making fun of me this weekend. So I'm a free spender at work, and a lot of our clients are, where we find the new software, tool, vendor, partner, and we want to sign up, and we want to sign up right now.
Yep.
Then we have our keepers. Our keepers, they save and save. Nothing ever feels like they have enough money. And I want to use the word feels like enough money. These people actually will have $100,000 sitting in a checking account, which is a terrible use of cash. And when you ask, So what are you saving for? They'll say, well, I'm just reinvesting back in the business. I'm like, well, investing in what? And they're like, the business. I'm like, but you're not investing in anything. You just have a savings account. All right. So those are our keepers. Then we have the balance seeker, and our balance seeker is somebody who's spending enough money to grow their business.
Okay.
They're spending enough money. They're hiring people like you. They're hiring people like us, right? They know that they need to work in their zone of genius. They're spending enough to make this a healthy, sustainable, profitable business, but they're not obsessed with every transaction.
Okay.
Our perfectionist wants to know where every penny is going, how every penny's coming in and how every penny's going out. Yeah. It's exhausting to be a perfectionist.
I couldn't do that. I know I'm not a perfectionist. Actually, I think I'm a cross between free spending and balance seekers. Does that exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it totally exists.
Okay,
yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends on what day of the month it is.
I know. Well, we all go through phases too. So I talk about that a lot. Like, we need to set intentions as business owners. Our CFO clients, we take them through a goal setting journey because we need to know what season of business you're in, because there's going to be times where it can be misconstrued as free spending, but you're really just in a high growth season.
Yeah.
And you're not free spending. You're really intentionally growing your business. And then there's going to be times where you're finding a little bit more balance in your home life. And again, you're investing in people and software and tools. So it could look like free spending, but you're really just trying to find balance. True. Because you need to be able to, like, pick up your kids once in a while or something.
So Danielle, I'd like to circle back to the how you pay yourself, right? So that is, we're talking basic secret sauce right here. So if you have an S-Corp, you, from my understanding, from my CFO, right, I might get a basic salary that's reasonable, that the IRS would say, this is a reasonable salary for you and your position for this company, et cetera, et cetera. And then anything above that I take draws from the business. Sounds good so far? Or no?
That's perfect.
Okay, I got scared.
No, it's perfect. I just want to touch on that because there's a lot of buzz on the internet about reasonable compensation.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that you cannot take owner's draws unless you're taking a reasonable compensation. And how you calculate that is really important. So for our tax clients, we give our clients access to a software that stands up to an IRS audit. So we have a partner that we use that gives each one of our clients a reasonable compensation tool. So they know exactly how much to pay themselves. And once they've paid themselves that money, they can take as much in owner's draws as they want, right? As much as their business can afford, because they know that they've paid themselves that reasonable compensation.
Right.
If you don't have a tool like that through your CPA, you're at risk because you might think it's one amount, but the IRS actually doesn't agree with you. So you can start, like, a free version of this would be to go to salary.com. You can look in your area for your business, but remember, you're the CEO. The IRS doesn't care how many jobs you took or how many hours you worked in your business. You are the CEO and you're being paid as such. And so you're not being paid as a designer, you're being paid as the business owner.
Right. And they'll have that on there, the reasonable compensation for the CEO, business owner, not just interior designer, right?
Correct.
Or lead designer, principal designer. Okay, very good to know. I might not have paid myself enough compared to my draws. Okay, anxiety-ridden Darla. Let's move on. Is that just for S-Corps, or that's for any type of corporation? Is that across the
so it's just for S-Corps. So as an S-Corp, you can be an LLC filing as an S-Corp. And so only S-Corps need to pay themselves. They're paying themselves through payroll. So you want to have a payroll system, Gusto, ADP.
Sure, yeah, we do.
Paychecks, a company like that who's filing your payroll taxes for you. You're paying yourself through that paycheck. I recommend weekly, bi-weekly, pay yourself on a regular basis. Don't wait till the end of the quarter, the end of the year, because it won't be reasonable because you won't have enough cash. Pay yourself consistently throughout the year. And then the draws can be made either, like, Gusto offers a reimbursement tool that you can take your draws through, or those can be transfers from business account to personal account.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'll just take it out if I need it, and then just put a little note on there, owner draw or whatever. Maybe a little too loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to revisit that, Darla.
Do you want to talk about who should become an S-Corp?
Yeah, let's do that. Sure.
Okay. because there's might be people out there who are like, I'm an LLC. I want to pay myself a reasonable compensation.
Yeah.
And here's something that we saw, especially in this industry. Okay.
Okay.
This industry had an amazing boom through COVID, after COVID. It was spectacular. And what happened is we had clients who had seen profits that they had never seen before. And they went and they became an S-Corp. And then the next year, the business had shifted and they weren't able to pay themselves a reasonable compensation. And the IRS doesn't say you have to pay yourself a reasonable compensation and hurt your business, right? Like you don't have to pay yourself if you're losing money, if you don't have the cash. You just can't take draws. And your tax payments are a draw.
Okay.
So we had this client who, she also had some personal situations happen. And so she became an S-Corp in January, February. She wasn't able to pay herself through payroll because she needed every dollar. So she couldn't pay the payroll tax. She's like, I have $5,000. I need all $5,000 in my personal life. I can't pay the payroll tax right now.
Right.
I'll pay myself later. Then taxes came due and she had to pay for her very profitable year last year. So now we have a $30,000 tax payment.
Yep.
Paid the tax payment from the business, which is totally okay, except for that's an owner's draw. Well, now what we're running into coming into quarter 2, quarter 3, we haven't paid ourselves through payroll. We haven't paid ourselves enough through payroll.
Yeah.
And we're sitting at a $30,000 owner's draw. The IRS is saying, hey, you need to pay yourself reasonable compensation before you take that draw.
Yeah.
So I tell that really scary story. Not to make everyone sick, because when you decide to become an S-Corp, now you could take away your S-Corp status at any time, but you can't become an S-Corp again for 5 years.
Okay.
So once you become an S-Corp, it's serious. We mean business. We want to stay an S-Corp. So I want you to have 2 years of profits.
Okay.
And I want your net income, your profit margin, I want that to be $100,000. So we're seeing between $90,000 to $100,000 being enough money to pay you plus your payroll tax.
Okay.
Rule number 2 is you do not commingle your business and personal finances. You know how like New Year, new me, we're all going on a diet on Monday. Like we're not going to eat the Christmas cookies anymore that I'm totally going to eat tonight. It's the same thing for an S-Corp. You're not going to become an S-Corp and suddenly stop commingling. If you are somebody who puts personal expenses through your business and business expenses through your personal, you cannot become an S-Corp until that changes.
Okay.
And I want you to have had practice for like 6 months to a year. You're piercing the corporate veil. It is very, very serious. So make that change now. Okay. Number 3 is that you are consistently paying yourself through owner's draws now. Your business is also not going to wake up on January 1st and have enough money to pay you just because you're an S-Corp. Let's practice. Let's be taking regular draws for 6 months to a year so that we have enough cash to be able to pay you once you become an S-Corp.
Right. All right, you guys know, or at least I hope you know, if you don't, I'm not doing my job, that we do full service social media management for you guys, interior designers, architects, and to the trade vendors or furnishing manufacturers, etc. But we are excited to announce our very new hybrid plan with Wingnut Social. It's kind of a half done for you, half you do it yourself sweet spot. If you're a beginning designer or a firm who's just really kind of getting started in social media marketing, but don't quite have the marketing budget to delegate it to a marketing firm, because that's a pretty decent size investment, right? This is our hybrid solution, and it's perfect for busy designers who the power of consistent professional content on Instagram. You've heard guest after guest and client after client say how they're getting leads from Instagram, right? But you have that overwhelm. You have no idea what to post, when to post, what the hashtags and captions should look like for a value proposition, a mix in order to reach your ideal client. Well, ta-da! Introducing the hybrid plan with Wingnut Social. You get a monthly content calendar where we create the content for you and you post at your leisure on your own time with our guidance. We're doing the posts. We're doing feed posts. We're editing reels for you. You get 8 feed posts, 2 reels. We're writing the captions for you. We are researching the hashtags for you that drive engagement with guidance, best practices, and quarterly strategy sessions to make sure that your strategy and everything is in alignment with your business goals. So if you want to find out some more information on our amazing hybrid plan, it's been very popular so far. Head on over to wingnutsocial.com and hit up that Let's Chat button and let's see how we can work together. Again, that's wingnutsocial.com. All right. So those are very elucidating points for sure as an S-Corp. But, when I did it and I changed over to an S-Corp, I had no idea that there was so much to it. So good to know if you are considering out there switching over to an S-Corp. What is the benefit of being an S-Corp? Is there a tax benefit to why would anyone switch to it to start with?
So the tax benefit is once you can pay yourself a reasonable compensation, you can take as much in draws as you want. So if your business is doing well, you can take lots of draws. There's also the number one benefit that people use it for is for tax benefits. You can also pay yourself an accountable plan where you are reimbursing yourself for your home office, for use of your vehicle. When you are a LLC, you can take the home office deduction. It's at a different place in your tax return and at a lower amount.
Oh, I see. Okay.
When you become an S-Corp, attention S-Corps, if you do not have an accountable plan, you need to talk to your CPA right now about an accountable plan. An accountable plan allows you to reimburse yourself throughout the year. You're moving money from your business account through your personal account, and it stays a business expense. As an LLC, it's not a business expense, and you don't get to reimburse yourself. It's just a deduction on your tax return. So it's a really nice way to get more cash into your pocket.
All right. So now that we've addressed the technical points of an S-Corp and the reasonable salary and when you can do your draws and all of that jazz, let's go down to a little bit more of practical. So when I was starting my interior design firm and even starting Wingnut Social, I'm a big believer of delegating outside of my scope of genius, right? So I'm a really good big picture person. I'm really good at the sales, the podcast, but I'm not really technical, right? In the design firm, I had to hire someone to do CAD and pay them a salary. And I knew that that was going to help get more clientele and grow my business, but I didn't really pay myself that much in the beginning, if anything, while I was doing that and investing in the business. I had income from other sources, what have you. And the same thing with the marketing agency, especially in the very beginning, right? As I was growing and scaling, I was making sure that my employees got their salaries and got everything because I knew that was growing the business and I considered it a long-term investment and didn't really make room to make sure, okay, you are making X amount of money. Thankfully, because I did have income coming from other things, I didn't have that same kind of like hustle pressure to do that, right, for myself and my bills. In hindsight, was that a bad thing? Is there ever a place to where that's okay to do that, to cut back or to pull back, to reinvest, to scale and to grow your business?
So as an LLC, you don't have to pay yourself.
Okay.
And it hurts my soul when I hear CPAs advise new business owners to become an S-Corp because I don't believe we start as an S-Corp.
Okay.
When you start your business, start as an LLC.
Yeah,
it gives you so much flexibility. You don't have to pay yourself. You can take draws whenever you want. There's no cap. There's no minimum. Give yourself that flexibility, time. There are seasons to owning a business. I would be shocked, year one, if you are paying yourself a really healthy salary and have work-life balance, have boundaries, are working within your zone of genius. I would be floored. Like, you're a very experienced business owner who I mean, that's next level. So there's always going to be seasons to, especially when you start, and then there's going to be seasons to business.
Yeah.
I recently had a client, she's one of our design clients, and she had hit $1 million. It was 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so excited year one, like this was the dream.
Yeah,
I did it. I have all these designers building my name and my brand. I got it. And then she kind of looked around her life and she's like, hold on. I don't love managing a team. I'm no longer designing, and that's what I want to be doing. I'm actually not very profitable at $1 million because I have to pay these people a lot of money who constantly want more money and they want bonuses and benefits and 401ks, and my rent went up again. And she came to me last year and said, I'm cutting back. And so we have slowly walked her through that process. We've moved her employees to contractors. She closed her brick and mortar space. She only has her shop now, where she has a small retail place.
Right.
There's changes in our seasons, right? So there was a time where we were helping her pay herself more, pay her team more, and she was actually making less money then. Now that she scaled her business back, she's actually paying herself more money, doing the design work that she loves and not leading a team. I'm not saying that's right or wrong for anybody, but I'm just saying that as a business owner, we're all going to go through these seasons. And so there might be times you're paying yourself less to invest and grow a team. And then there might be times you're paying yourself more. Either you've stabilized the business or you don't have those expenses.
Yeah. So as an owner operator, right? So the more work that I'm doing, the more I'm paying myself, right? Because I'm putting more hours. Like, it was a year or two ago, I hired a salesperson just because I don't like sales. For one reason or another, that changed. And I started doing the sales, and it turns out that I'm actually halfway decent at it. So that made a big difference right there. And so, I mean, even though I do love to delegate outside my scope of genius, I think there's a fine line of being reasonable and doing it as well. So that helped. I mean, eventually, will I get another salesperson? I don't know, because I really don't do a whole hell of a lot except for the sales and the podcast. My team does everything else. So let's talk about the mindset piece, right? About paying yourself as a business owner. We've talked about the logistic versions of paying yourself, why you should pay yourself, how you should pay yourself. But there is a mindset component to that too, right?
There is. And it's so funny because 10 years ago when I started the business and I came from corporate, I was so clueless to this. I was like, what do you mean? Just pay yourself. Figure out the number and pay it. What I've learned is that there is, am I worth it? Am I doing enough? I'm a free spender, so I actually don't have enough money to do it because I'm out there spending in all these other areas, courses and tools and software. And when it comes time to pay me, I don't have anything to pay me because I've paid everybody else because I've signed up for everything. My keepers, they're scared to ever pay themselves because the money's not in the business then. They're like, well, what if the business needs the money and I have the money and I don't need the money, so I'm going to keep the money in the business. There's no specific prescription that I'm going to give you today that says, I'm going to erase all of your mindset issues around paying yourself. But what I do want to do is acknowledge the fact that there are mindset hurdles around paying ourselves. And we need to be doing the work as a CEO and a business owner to know, what is your goal in the business? Like, what are you building? Take some time to really think about that. Work with your CFO, work with your bookkeeper, work with your money team so that you know where the business is going and you can ask that person what your business can afford. There's power in having a money team to be able to say, I'm thinking about doing XYZ. And them saying, yeah, that's a really great idea. You have enough money to do that. Or no, please don't do that. Our team is really honest with our clients. And so you need to have a money team that's going to be able to help you with that.
And I love that. Right. And there's a lot to be said for, and this is an entirely different show, but knowing your worth and knowing that you can make X amount of, once you do have the profits there able to do that. So, and some people are a little scared of that. I do like the keeper philosophy though. It's something I need more of to balance out my free spending. I need a little bit of everything.
I think you can do it. We have our clients set up 3 bank accounts. And so the first one is operating, money in, money out. Second one is your tax reserve. So as you are generating more profit this year, saving for your taxes throughout the year. And the third one is 1 to 3 months worth of operating expenses. Yeah. And so I want you to channel your inner keeper, but I don't want you to go overboard. Like that's the 3 accounts I want you to have.
I have them.
And that's okay. Like then from there, let's spend that money, pay yourself, send your team a bonus, go to the conference, do the training, buy the software, right? But you have that balance between the two.
Yeah. I need to get better, but at least I'm not as bad as I thought I was, or maybe. I don't know, some of the personal money. I don't know.
All right. Move all those personal expenses to your personal account.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Danielle Hayden, thank you so much for your brilliant as usual. I'm serious. You guys could do a lot worse than reaching out to Kickstart Accounting and hiring Danielle for your needs in this situation. But now I have to ask you, are you ready for the What Up Wingnut round?
Yes.
I don't know if these are the same questions you had before, but if they are, if you have a different one, that's fine. Question number 1. What would the hashtag on your tombstone be?
My tombstone.
We're morbid.
I think it's always growing.
Oh, I like that. Except, are we? Are we?
I think so.
Are we on a tombstone? I kid. You're stuck on a deserted island, but you can have your one favorite food forever. What is it?
Bananas.
The dogs approve.
Yep, dogs approve. Actually, they will not eat a banana from me.
Okay, so if we're on a deserted island, there may be banana trees. Do you have another choice? Like if you feel like a prepared food, or that's it, bananas? You're just gonna...
I would do like a sourdough bread.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Yeah, I swear I'm not a carb junkie, but those are my 2 favorite foods.
Shh, be quiet, dogs. We're doing a podcast. Well, sourdough bread is low glycemic, relatively speaking, for bread. So I've read. Obviously, I don't eat a lot of it. But
I think that's how I was convinced to start eating it in the first place. And we get it from this fresh market here, and it's the best.
Yeah, I do love it. Okay, last but not least, please recommend a book that's impacted you either personally or professionally.
Built to Sell was the best book I have ever read for my business, and it changed how I designed and implemented my entire business.
I love that book. Built to Sell. Who wrote that? I forget the name of the author.
John Werlow.
Yeah. You know why I love that book so much is because it's so digestible in the way he wrote it in a storytelling format. I just think that's brilliant. If I were ever to write a book, that's how it would be, like a business book. Make up my little characters and I just think that's so, I love it.
Patrick Lencioni is another one who does a great job of creating fables around his point. And so it's a great fable. And then at the end, he ties it into the concepts to implement. But Built to Sell was, I read that early on in my business journey, and it really helped separate me from being the whole business, how to create that reoccurring revenue. I think anyone in any industry can use the concepts in that book. We recommend it to clients all the time.
That's one of my favorite. And I found it in a thrift store just accidentally one day and just picked it up, started reading it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't put it down.
That's so funny. I met John at an event a few years ago, and he's done a really great job of creating an entire software and service around that. So even his journey as a business owner is interesting to watch, how he has implemented his tools within his business. So.
Oh, cool. Good to know. I'll have to check that out. Yeah. All right, Danielle Hayden, where can the Wingnuts go to find out more about you and Kickstart Accounting Incorporated? And we will call it a day.
KickstartAccountingInc.com is the best place. Come book a call. We would love to talk to you. We have our podcast, Business by the Books. So if you want more content just like this, every single week, we teach business owners how to use their numbers.
Perfect. I'll have to check that out as well. Thank you so much for joining us again, Danielle.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so in closing, the IRS is scary. Don't commingle your personal funds with your S-Corp. Not that anyone's doing that. And maybe an LLC is better if you're building and growing your firm, which is what we did in the beginning. And now we are an S-Corp. But it's amazing, even with CFOs and accounting and bookkeeping, how much I learned by having guests as brilliant as Danielle Hayden on the show. It's always a great reminder, even if somewhere in the past you kind of have heard this or learned this before, that it's real life and it exists. And maybe you want to pay attention to these things. Definitely, if you're in the beginning stages of your business and you're wearing all the hats, the very first hire that you have, unless you're already an accounting professional and you're fine by it, is to hire someone to do your bookkeeping and your accounting. That 100%. And then from there, you might start hiring designers, admin, you know how that goes. But the first hire always needs to be someone in this genre. And I highly recommend that you check out kickstartaccountinginc.com. Go over there and set up an appointment to talk to Danielle or one of her staff about changing your business around, right? On your financial side and getting all your ducks in a row. It's super important. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Remember to head on over to wingnutsocial.com if you need help with marketing your interior design business, your architect business, your home shelter kind of professional there, wingnutsocial.com. And until next time, remember to get out there, get uncomfortable, and be great. Did I say that right? I did. It's a new year. It's been a minute. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. All right, guys, that is it for this show. Remember to be nice to the aliens and the drones, you know, because you get a lot more with honey than vinegar. Although you don't want to be that girl in Independence Day. Remember, she was on top of the building and she's like, welcome aliens or whatever. And she got zapped pretty quick. So, you know, be sensible about it. All right. All right, guys, that's it for this. God bless America in the butt. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Remember to put on pants.